Welcome to Comic Construction. Let's talk about the build, art, and story of the artist behind Superman, the Joe Shuster story by Julian Volage and Thomas Campy from Super Genius. This book is a digest-sized hardcover at 6 3/4 by 9 1/4 inches and has 180 pages. The cover has 4-color printing directly on the board with a glossy coating. As you can see, it's very shiny. The book has sewn binding with no head ribbon, so there is glue visible, and you can also see the bending of the page at the ends of the page signatures. One design element I have to point out that I really dislike is how they did his name. Like, all of the text is flat, but Joe Shuster is literally in 3D. I feel like they could have used this really cool Art Deco font on the back, and not only would it have looked nicer, but the design would have been more harmonious in general. The interior pages are a thick semi-gloss sheet. It's not as thick as an Image Deluxe hardcover, but it's nicer than Marvel or DC books. This is a nicely built hardcover. There are multiple illustration styles used throughout the text. For the current era, you've got this kind of more traditional, almost webtoon style, but it is a little sketchy. It's a more thin line style rather than a heavy black kind of graphical style. And the colors are very, I would say, kind of watercolory. When we get back to when we start with the flashbacks, things move in a more impressionistic direction. I'm pretty sure this is like digital painting. And then some panels are so soft, like this one, that they kind of look more like a kid's book. I'm not sure why the artist decided to go with 3 unique styles, but that was a choice they made. And while we're looking at the art closely, I want to point out the text. It is kind of a handwriting oblique type font, and it is a little small. I found it quite hard to read in most of the book. It almost feels as though the book was designed for a larger size, and instead of adjusting like the type size, when they scaled it down, they just scaled everything down like it was an image or something. The story is interesting yet difficult to read. And first, I would like to note that this is a fictionalized biography based on as many details as the team could find through research, as opposed to something like Kirby, the King of Comics, which was written by Mark Evanier, who was close to Jack Kirby both professionally and personally. The story here focuses on the friendship of Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster going back to high school. I was a little surprised by how much of Siegel's life was kind of in the focus, but it does seem their stories are very heavily intertwined. And as presented here, Shuster was timid and usually happy with whatever he was given. A little too eager to go with the flow, enabling others to take advantage of him. It's hard to see such a skilled creator be dominated by pretty much everyone, but that's kind of the point. Shuster's life has some very high points. I mean, he was part of a team that introduced a new genre of fiction, which is hard to even comprehend. But his life was also very tragic. He doesn't find love. He loses most of his court battles in trying to regain ownership of the Superman character. Of course, the court battles were started by Jerry Siegel. He just kind of went along with it. Because of the historical nature of the narrative, the reader learns how the Red Scare affected the comics industry and how Frederick Wortham's work further damaged the field. An interesting note here, Shuster has an experience with a gang of young men terrorizing their community and blaming their actions on a comic he illustrated. There's a similarity with the Sandman Mystery Theater story, Return of the Scarlet Ghost. It was kind of interesting to see how scared he was and worried that he would get in trouble because he just drew this book. It goes to show you that creating art is political no matter what, right? But there is some light. Later in the book, you get to see how some of the newer creators stood up for those slighted in the early years of the superhero genre, specifically Neil Adams' work in the late 70s to restore creators' rights. The book wraps up with a lengthy text collection of the writer's notes. This book is definitely worth reading, but be prepared to feel sad and a bit frustrated by the end. One note about the writing, I did find it, especially early in the story, to be very by-the-numbers retelling, sort of like this happened, then this, then this. I've noticed this in most of these graphic novels that are telling like biographies that I've checked out this year, and I do not enjoy that sort of writing. It feels very jarring and dehumanizing to me. Thanks for checking out this video. If you enjoyed it, like, subscribe, and share with a friend.